This hour is brought to you by Jeremy Temple Law Office of Bloomington. Personal injury, criminal, business, whatever you need, Jeremy Temple Law Office will get you taken care of.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Well, come on along and welcome aboard the Indiana Sports Beat with Coy O'Leary. Coming to you here on this Thursday, January 23rd. It's game day.
Always love game day.
Doesn't matter. A lot of that to talk about, of course. What's that?
I said always love game day.
Always love game day. Plenty to get to there. Lots of other things to talk about. Eli Manning's retiring. Some games in the Big Ten last night. Rutgers, Iowa, Penn State, Michigan. We'll talk about that. Dane Fife on the program today, former Hoosier, current assistant coach with the Spartans. He's going to join us. So can't wait to have some fun with that. Other than that, we've got Jake at the wheel keeping us on the track, and my running mate Todd Leary's right here as always.
I'm good, brother. How are you this morning? Oh man, I'm good. Excited. I always wake up better on game days, and you know I'm still such a nerd. Like I get anxious and excited, and all the good opportunities with this game. Like I used to be one of those people that was sick to my stomach all day on game day. It hasn't changed a lot.
And speaking of that, there is a difference. I don't care what anybody says. There is a difference when it's game day and you're playing Michigan State and you know you're playing Michigan State, or versus when you're playing Minnesota. Or I know nothing against Minnesota,
no doubt,
but you know what I'm saying. I mean,
for sure,
you know when that big game's there as an athlete.
You know, Coach Knight's biggest thing he tries to pound into you is, hey, every game is just as important as the next one or the last one or whatever else, and you know, it is kind of, it's the way you want to approach it. And what you get out of that more than anything is you want to do the same preparation. You want to prepare just as hard for, you know, Minnesota as you do Michigan State. And that's all true. Like all of that happens. You don't prepare any less because it's just Minnesota versus Michigan State. But when you're talking about excitement level and getting amped up and knowing it's, you know, it's a big game, and you know, knowing it could have ramifications on your NCAA tournament seed or their Big Ten, you know, win or lose the Big Ten. I mean, it was always our goal. We started every year out. People may think Coach Knight always talked about winning national championships and that stuff, and it was set from the day we first got there that our number one goal was to win the Big Ten. And if you win the Big Ten, everything else will take care of itself. You'll get a good seed. You'll put yourself in an opportunity to do well in the tournament. And so that was always our number one goal. Of course, we didn't have the Big Ten tournament at that point. So it was just
Coach Knight so loved the tournament.
Oh, yeah. You know how that went over. But, you know, just the overall Big Ten. And so this game, you know, if you're looking at the standings, Michigan State sits atop the Big Ten. This would have been a game we knew playing in Assembly Hall we had to win. And it just When Coach Knight, probably one of the best things you can ever say about him as a coach is he got you to do things that even you surprised yourself at how, you know, some good plays that you made and stuff like that. He got more out of you than I think you even thought you could get out of yourself. And games like this are when that stuff would usually happen. And you would get in a situation where, you know, it looks like Cassius Winston's unstoppable. And we put an effort together where we all kept him out of the lane and forced tough shots and did all that and came away with a win. And when you do stuff like that and you see it work out, man, it feels good.
Yeah, Michigan State has a coach like that now.
Yeah, they do.
So she's a little bit on the other foot. But we got a lot more to talk about in regards to Indiana as they prepare for the Spartans tonight. We'll get to that. Dane Fife's going to join us in the next segment, so looking forward to that. Kansas, DeSilvio D'Souza suspended for 12 games. It came out finally yesterday, and the other people were suspended, some all for less than that. But 12 games is the mark I've seen a lot of people comment on it. It's substantial. Is it enough for what went on? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I even have an opinion on whether it was enough or not. Because I really don't know. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what is enough because there's been so many things happen and suspensions. But you also look at the fact that this kid, this is not like he's some choir boy. He's already been suspended by the NCAA. His guardian took money. There's just all kinds of. This is a typical Kansas kind of a deal with Bill Self and his gold chain and Snoop Dogg rolling on the court. I mean, it's all rolling into one big Kansas package.
It's just overall, it's just a really strange situation. I mean, this guy, for whatever reason, he has just had one issue after another since his recruitment from IMG Academy to go to Kansas. And, like I was looking at, I barely watched them play. They're not the most fun team to watch play, Kansas. And so I'm not even going to act like I watch them play a ton, but I've watched this kid over the years. And here's does this change your opinion of it? Silvio De Souza averages 8 minutes a game and 2.6 points a game.
Oh, he's doing nothing for him.
I know. I mean, it's so him getting suspended for the whole year. Like I was sitting there trying to analyze whether, this could end their season. This could take them out of the run. They're ranked third in the country. No, it wouldn't. This wouldn't affect them in the slightest. It doesn't matter. I don't know why. Now all of a sudden, I don't know why I was even thinking about it. Yes, like who cares? He's a non-factor. It would be like losing Deron Davis, and I don't mean that to be derogatory.
No, I agree. Davis. I agree with you because I was a little shocked. I'll be honest with you, and to find that out, I was a little shocked. I'll be honest with you, man, because they made such a deal about the importance of this guy, and he hasn't done anything, and so I'm like, wow, okay. I mean, I agree with you 1,000%.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. It just kind of changed how much I cared about the whole situation at that point. And it's just, it sucks. I think what I hope it did, you try to learn from difficult situations like this. And from their standpoint, I'm sure that they'll sit down and they'll have conversations and they'll learn about it, I would assume. But what I really hope comes out of it, and I think you saw it if you watched the Michigan game last night, and you watched even the Iowa game last night, I think officials are trying to get a handle on things right off the bat. They weren't going to let anything escalate last night at all. They weren't going to let any taunting or trash talking or anything escalate. They were nipping it in the bud right off the bat. And I hope coaches use this opportunity to just kind of talk to their players and get everyone on the same page of, hey, look, no matter what someone says, does to you, acts, pushes you, talks trash to you, it can't escalate to that point. It just can't, because they're not going to tolerate it. And if it happens again to another school, the punishments will be even worse.
Yep. And so it was up to the Big 12 conference. This was not an NCAA thing. I think the conference handed out the penalties, not the school. So
yeah. No, I think you're right on. I think the school probably worked alongside with the conference to figure out what the penalty should have been. And if the school just grossly disagreed with it, I think they would have
appealed or whatever.
Shoved it off on the Big 12 themselves and said that's their decision. We don't support it or have anything to do with it, but we're going to honor it. But in this case, I think they'll probably take it, live with it, and move on and hope and try to just sweep it under the rug.
I agree, man. I agree. But one way or another, I guess it's pretty much it's done now, so they'll move forward, and we'll see how much if that has any effect on Kansas this season.
Yeah, I mean, it could band them all together. They could all rally from it. They could all learn and come out on the good side of it. It could also make them implode. And
yeah, I was getting ready to say that's the one thing is it could bring them together.
It could. There's no doubt about it. A situation like that, now it can become, kind of you guys against the world, and everybody hates us, and everybody thinks we're the worst and trash and crap and all that, and you band together and go out and when stuff like that happens and you get a team bought into a concept of they're the underdog. I think you've seen in the NFL recently how much coaches have been using that as motivation for the players and get them to understand, hey, nobody thinks we have a chance. Like, why are we even playing? We don't have a chance. And that's a good motivator. It really is.
The text line's already getting lit up. 812-269-6367. Again, that's 812-269-6367. Hit us up. Questions, comments, whenever you got some that came in overnight as well. So you can send them anytime. We'll get to them. Also, while you're listening, make sure you follow both of us on Twitter, at Leary Todd. I love that. I love getting to say that.
You're welcome.
And at Jim Coyle ISB there on Twitter. Make sure you follow us. Keep up to date on what's going on. We also have a Facebook page where after the game with Todd Leary takes place tonight, coming to you live from Yogi's, of course, brought to you by Best Beer Incorporated of Bloomington. Have yourself a nice ice cold Budweiser or Bud Light wherever you are in Bloomington. But after the game tonight, approximately around 10:30, tip time's around 8:30 for this contest between Indiana and Michigan State. Eastern time for those of you living on the smart side of the world. Just kidding. And so, that's tipping off tonight around 10:30. Looking forward to that on Facebook Live. You can find us anywhere, but follow us on Twitter. Share the show as well. Make sure you share it out so we can get this thing ramped up. It just continues to grow, and we're so happy for you guys to join us. Larry in Bloomington, he sent in a text, and it says, Penn State won on the road. Yes, they did. That's something we're going to be talking about later on heavily too. But, how about Penn State, man? They went up to Ann Arbor, 72-63. They were in control of that game, at least in the last portion of it. They were just in control. They played good basketball.
It's almost time to stop talking about how difficult it is to win on the road, because 3 of the last 5 games in the Big Ten, the road team has won. Penn State at Michigan, Illinois won at Purdue on Tuesday, Maryland won at Northwestern on Tuesday. Last night, and almost 2 for 2, because Rutgers almost won at Iowa last night, losing 85-80. But it's about that time of year where things start to shake out, and the good teams start to get a couple of those road wins. And I think this week we're starting to see a little bit more of it. 3 of the last 5 games of the road team has won. So,
well, speaking of that, Tim's got a text in. He says, where did that go? Oh, he talks about playing to your competition. He goes, you just recently you saw Louisville beat Duke, and then last night they barely beat a Georgia Tech team by 1. Why does that happen, he asks?
Well, a lot of it truly has to do with, this is just the easy answer in saying a lot of it has to do with the parity, which it does. There's a lot more really good teams. And, I think one of the bigger differences now is, you remember I told you, I say all the time about recruits, and I say all the time, we see a guy and we're like, well, why would that guy go to Memphis? Or why would Romeo consider Vanderbilt or some different places like that? And guys think that and for good reason, and coaches teach them that, and coaches go and recruit them on this fact of this is what you can do for us. And Georgia Tech's got some pretty good players, and they've got some good guards. And I'm going to say this because I was a guard and I watch guard play probably a little bit closer. But when you've got really good guards, you can control the game. And then that makes a bigger difference when you're on the road. So if you get off to a good start, and there's been a lot of games Georgia Tech did not get off to a good start. But if you do, you can really control the game if you've got guards that score the ball and have the ball in their hands a lot and can distribute to other shooters and things like that. And so just that as an example, I watched part of that game, so I kind of have an understanding of it exactly in that instance of what he's asking, how that can happen. And when you've got guards that control the game and control it from the standpoint of scoring, the pace of play, being able to guard defensively and get guys in the right position. Georgia Tech's not a good team. They're not coached very well, to be honest with you. But they've got a couple of good players that they've recruited to there that are decent and could play at any school across the country. And when you've got guards like that, you can, if you get off to a good start, you can hang around and be there in a game.
Absolutely. Hey, we've got so much more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Dane Fife up next, former Hoosier, current Michigan State assistant coach, joins us next. Stay tuned. We're back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Hi, this is AJ Moye, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Here comes Duke. Daniel Ewing driving right side. 3 on the way. No good. Williams, 3 on the way. A foul. No! And he hit it. Jason Williams just hit a 3-point shot. Coverdale fouled him, and he'll have a chance to tie the game at 74.
Oh, my gosh. I can't believe what I just saw.
I take it back. It was Dane Fife who was charged with a foul.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle Leary here on this Thursday, January 23rd. It's game day, the Hoosiers and Sparty. And we couldn't be happier to have one of our favorite guests, Dane Fife, former Hoosier, current Michigan State assistant coach with us. Dane Fife, how are you, sir?
I love you, Don. I love you, Don. Doing good, boys. It's game day. Who plays? Are you guys going?
It still gives me chills, Dane. It still gives me chills.
I know, man. And that's not because you were getting free food and beverage from the service at Rupp Arena, right, Larry?
You know, I had already partaked in that. You know, I don't miss a free meal.
No, that's true. Yes. That's true. So the Spartans are in Bloomington. We're ready to go.
Yeah, how was the trip down? How have you been?
Well, you know, Todd, back when you played in the 90s, the early to mid 90s, you know, they went by bus, and it was probably one of those old airport shuttle buses. Now we fly. We do it all. So
yeah, well, you guys are first class up there. I mean, I know Michigan State. You guys are probably flying on the Pistons plane up there.
We got Delta, but it works well. Plenty of room. But we got big,
you'll always be
big
loved,
business,
Dane.
big football, big everything.
You'll always be loved, Dane. But we're hoping you guys are not too ready to play tonight.
Well, you know what? Somebody asked me that. And I said, of course it is. We don't like to beat them, but unfortunately, that's the way we got to think.
Understood.
And, it's not easy, and I've got to know Arch and his staff, and got a bunch of people still here that the relationships I know and love and cherish. Nonetheless, it's we're trying to compete for a championship, and it's game day. And about 10 minutes ago, I was going over the first 4 plays with Coach Izzo, and
you want to tell us what those are?
Well, I think my first statement was anything where we don't turn the damn ball over, because we like to do that out of the gate. And you can bet it'll touch Cassius Winston's hands. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, we're positive of that too. Hey, what's it like game day wise for you guys? What will you guys do today? You shoot around, or will you go over there and practice? What do you do today?
Say that one more time, Todd.
What will you guys do today? What for Michigan State? What will you guys do today? Will you go over there and shoot around, or practice, or walk through, or what will you do? Will you go to Assembly Hall today?
We're getting ready to eat breakfast here in a second. I can see your mouth watering, Larry.
Yeah, I know it. Sounds good.
And then we're going to go over to Assembly Hall at some point here in the next few hours. Walk through, get some shots up, and then we'll rest and end up going over to the arena or the hall about an hour and a half before the game. But otherwise, everything's set. It's just a matter of our guys understand, especially the young guys, that this is going to be the loudest place they'll play in from start to finish.
Yeah.
And it's just something they can't. They struggle to rationalize, especially the young guys, that it plays this isn't high school, this isn't prep school, this is where, some people live and die by this stuff. And, the emotion, you get caught up in the emotion pretty easily, and it sucks the energy right out of you if you're not careful. So that's something we're really mindful of right now, because we just got our butts handed to us by the Boilers.
Yeah, and I'm talking about it. This has been a funky season, Dane. It's a season where Michigan State starts out as the number 1 team in the country, and obviously we thought them to be the best team in the Big Ten, which I still think that. But then this season just became a crazy mixing bowl of you got to win at home or you can't win on the road, and just nuts. And then you guys is one of those teams at the top. You're like looking now like, damn, look at all those teams below us. Every one of them's good.
Well, the thing about it is it's the youth movement, and I don't think it's changing just because these young kids are constantly moving on, and it's transfers combined with kids thinking they're pros and they can barely make a G League team, if they even do. So transfers combined with everybody trying to make a $10,000 salary out of high school is it really the attrition on a team. It's hard to maintain a team, much less a really good team. And so you look at us coming back. We had 2 proven guys, and that was Xavier Tillman and really it was Cassius Winston, and then everybody was counting on Langford coming back, but I think they kind of slept with one eye open on it. So we had 2 guys, and we're one in the country. And obviously, we all knew and within our program that it would be hard to be number 1 in the country based on what we had, what was proven and what wasn't. But it's tough, and you can see it throughout the Big Ten. And everybody says Big Ten's really good, and I think, relatively speaking, we are the top conference in the country. But it's not because of veteran players per se. I think it's just the parity and the youth is what's done it.
Hey, Dane, talk a little bit about Cassius Winston, because I know you've coached for a long time. You played with a bunch of good players and great players and people that had had kind of the it factor and some of those things. You were one of those guys with the it factor. You played better when it was a bigger moment. And yeah, I mean, Cassius Winston to me is just one of those guys that is I mean, he's special. He's something that doesn't come along very often. From an outsider's perspective, tell us what it's like for you to be around him every day. Is he the same kind of kid?
He's a great kid, a great caring person, very, very smart, easy to have a conversation with. And it'll drive you nuts when he's playing, especially in practice, because he seems that he's going at a pace that's like your full speed, Todd, was probably a half a mile an hour. Well, that's not necessarily Cassius's full speed, but that's his pace he likes to play at, and he seems like he's playing very casual, just kind of floating around. But when, as you were talking about, when it's crunch time and game time, that kid, he finds a way to win. He just wins, and he's always done it. And he kind of tinkers and messes with the game like it's a hobby. Like he just kind of toys with it. He toys with us. He just kind of toys with the game. But some of the things, like his hands, he's got the best hands and hand-eye coordination I've ever seen. And it's like he would be a great golfer. Like his short game, his putting, he would just anything involving the hands and hand-eye coordination. That's just something I've never seen. Like you don't teach it, you're just kind of born with it. And it's something that's pretty special. But, he's been through some tough times here, but he's managed to hold his head high and constantly asking questions to gain perspective. We're really, I mean, he just broke the assist record for the Big Ten and Michigan State, passing Mateen. Because of the world today and the news cycles, we're missing. If we aren't careful, we're all going to miss. So anybody that loves basketball, something that's pretty rare. And that's Cassius, because he represents guys like Todd and I, who weren't born with, the athleticism or the good looks, right, Todd?
Yep.
And Jim, we can't speak for Jim because Jim's so handsome, but he's just something that's pretty special, and we're kind of in rare air when you watch him play. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
but you're not going to see the dunk.
No question. Like I can't. I enjoy watching him play every opportunity I get to watch him play because of exactly what you just said. It's funny that you said that because I've said that to my kids. I'm like, just watching this guy play, we're going to miss him in all of college basketball just because he's that good.
Yep. He doesn't get in trouble. He's a really good student. He's a good person. And it's I don't think because of the flash, he's not flashy. He doesn't get the notoriety. I mean, I know he's in the running for National Player of the Year, but the media and the hype doesn't surround him because he doesn't. That's not why he plays. I mean, I swear he takes it serious. Trust me, but it's just the way he does things. It's like it's a hobby. Yep. Like you know what? I think I'll just and he works at it and all that. But I think I'll just show up and win today. I think I'm going to win today.
Well, when's the last time a guy was a Player of the Year candidate and he probably couldn't dunk?
Oh, that's right.
And I shouldn't say that because
maybe
he can dunk, but he sure doesn't look like it. He doesn't go flying around the court. I know that.
Trust me, man, he can't dunk.
We need to
now I really love him.
We need to get Dane over to Yogi's and sign the board, Todd.
Oh yeah, Dane, you do need to make it over there at some point.
Yogi's at now?
It's where the old Scotty's was across right there on Walnut, across from the Taco Bell.
Hey, absolutely.
But they've got a gigantic sized court with the IU court on there, and the players sign this court. You need to stop in there so they can get your signature on the wall.
Here's the best part, Dane, is they give us free food. That's the cool part.
For signing the court?
Yeah.
Yeah, go get yourself some chicken tenders, Yogi's chicken tenders.
Yeah, man.
Did you go to Yogi's back when it was open?
Oh, yeah, I did. Absolutely. I did a lot of Convenient Mart, though. I did a lot of eating at the Convenient Mart there across the street from the football stadium. I don't even know if it's open.
Those little sub sandwiches every day. Yeah.
Oh, man. And then we did Marsh. We did Marsh because the general loved Marsh. That's where he took my dad out. The general took my dad out to eat at Marsh, and it was good.
Well, Todd's training table, their training table was at Steak and Shake.
No, we did. So we had it there too, for sure. And it was, hey, you know how it is, both of you, how we eat in college.
Yeah, 1 a.m. every night. Steak and Shake was pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, Dane, right. I know you got to get going, man, but we can't thank you enough for taking some time to join us here. I know it's game day, but we always love having you on. You're one of our absolute favorites.
Hey, anytime I get a chance to make fun of Leary, I am all in. So you guys, anytime. I'll skip
that's a big
practice
club
for
you're
this.
a part of, trust me.
I'll give you all the opportunities you can stand.
Thanks, guys.
All right, buddy. Good luck
Thanks,
tonight.
brother. Dave Fife, former Hoosier, current assistant coach for Tom Izzo and the Michigan State Spartans, as it is game day. The Hoosiers and Sparty tonight. The Simon Scott Assembly Hall, 8:30. Fox Sports. Gus Johnson on the call. Hard to be better than the best. Phil Raftery with a kiss. Big night, big day, man. We got all kinds of stuff coming on. We got lots more coming up on the show as well. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
This is former IU basketball player Derek Elston. Follow the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Coach, the last couple of games, the offense seemed to refine itself, better shot selection, and getting there. Are players finding their roles a little bit more? What is it? Is there anything that's led to that specifically?
You're just trying to improve. You know, teams are giving you certain things as players, as statistics and scouting reports go through, and you have to adjust to what the defenses are giving you. And you can't be stubborn and just try to play your way. You know, you have to play a certain way to be successful. And for us, our team has to be successful in offense. Number one, sharing the ball. There's a lot of different ways you share it. We've gotten better at sharing the ball. Guys have a conscious approach right now to pass more than they do to shoot. And I think that's a good thing. I think that carried over in our Ohio State game. We had a little bit of a setback in the Rutgers game, although we missed some good shots off of good looks, good passes. And then as we moved into Nebraska, you know, I think we continued to share the ball again a little bit better. And we're seeing the value of the quality of the shot. Part of the other thing is you got to be ready to attack. You got to be ready to play. And so many times I think we have reluctant players ready to be ready on the catch to make the play, the correct play. I think we have some guys now that are doing a much better job of seeing the game a different way and understand that when I do this, I got to be able to deliver the ball where it's got to be delivered. And our front court players have to continue to do a good job of getting catches, early catches, deep catches, and good things happen when we play inside out. And the quality of the shot and the confidence in the shot that you get sometimes just has to do with the fluidness of guys moving it and moving it when they're supposed to move it. And I thought we had some good value to that coming in against Nebraska. We also have some guys, in my opinion, every guy that has to play with a little chip, a little edge on their shoulder in terms of, you know, I'm better than this. They're not going to give me this shot, or I'm going to be ready the next time I get this look. And I think we've had some guys kind of take it personal a little bit that, you know what, if I get this look in the game, you know, I'm not going to be the guy that's not ready to shoot it.
There's Indiana basketball coach Archie Miller talking about the refined offense, Todd, how, you know, we've talked a lot about that in the after the game shows, how these last few games, we can see this offense trying to do something a little different, a little bit more refined. And even Archie talked about the shots just didn't fall at Rutgers. And we saw that. They took good shots. They just didn't fall. And then the next game, they did fall. And so that's coming together. But he talked about ball movement and guys wanting to be better passers first rather than a shooter. So a lot of positive things that you want to hear about your offense.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that, or the person that I can tell the most that's getting the most out of what he's saying there, is Justin Smith. I think he's had the biggest, kind of transformation in his approach in the last 3 or 4 games of anyone. Although there's several guys I think you could definitely make that statement about. But Justin Smith has really, I think, made a concentrated effort to be a slasher, to get into the lane, to shoot more shots that are, kind of creative shots inside the lane. And that's something he wasn't doing, 8 games ago and 12 games ago. I mean, he has definitely had a little bit of a transformation, and I think they've got him to realize that. And we even said it in that Ohio State game, I think it was, the last 10 minutes of that half. He was a big part of guys that were taking good shots. They just weren't going in. And I think a lot of their droughts have been a factor of poor shot selection. But that wasn't the case in that time. And they were just missing shots, and Justin Smith was a part of that. But you and I stood right there together and watched it and said it. Like, I'll take those shots. We'll take those all day long out of Justin Smith. And as long as they continue that and they're, as long as they kind of see it, that's one of the big deals. As long as you kind of see what you're trying to accomplish. It's got to be tangible to you. Yeah. As long as you kind of know what you're trying to accomplish, it doesn't mean the next game you're going to go out and shoot 75% and score 95 points. But as long as you're starting to move in that direction, that's what we want to see out of the offense as much as anything.
Well, they get more confidence in that style. And once you have more confidence in that style, then shots are going to start falling. You're going to be much more comfortable in what you're doing. And it's just going to become that much more efficient.
Yeah, I mean, here's what they've got to become. I mean, this is a strange statement. This is what makes Iowa so dangerous, because Iowa has the best scoring big man in the Big Ten, maybe in all the country. But if Iowa's not making outside shots, they can't win. I mean, that's just a fact. They cannot go on the road. They can't win at home. If they're not making three-pointers, the good part for them is they've got 5 guys that can stand out there and knock it down on a big clip. And they're probably 5 of the best 8 3-point shooters in all of the league are on that one team. But Indiana doesn't need to be that. Not only are they not that, they don't need to be that. Indiana just needs to be adequate from the three-point line. You can't win. You can't consistently win in the Big Ten if you can only make 2 3-pointers in a game. And I don't care if that's 2 out of 5. Like, if you're only making 2 3-pointers, you can't win consistently in the Big Ten. You've got to be able to make that 6 to 9 or 10 mark in order to be able to beat the really good teams. Now, hopefully you shoot that at a good percentage.
That's my next point. But the most important thing is, whether it's 6 or 9 or whatever it is, that's got to be 6 or 9 of 15, 16, not 6 or 9 of 25.
23, yeah, that's exactly right. And that is, but that's a good thing to need to be. Think about that. Indiana's not going into any game thinking, all right, well, we've got to shoot really, really well from the three-point line in order to have a chance to win. They don't. That's not part of the game plan. It's not part of the thought process. They just need to be adequate. And when they're open to take those shots, I told you this, and I'm not being a hypocrite about it. I told you this early in the season. If Justin Smith will continue to slash and shoot the shots in the lane, for every 4 of those shots he takes, he's allowed to shoot a three-pointer. I mean, and if you think,
but he doesn't need to shoot a three-pointer.
He doesn't need to, but you'll live with it. If he shoots 2 a game, but he's taken 11 shots and 9 of those have been inside the lane or slash into the basket, we'll live with it. But when a guy like Jerome Hunter came in the last game, and I think he made 2 for 3 3-pointers, and yes, that sounds great, and yes, Indiana really needed him. But how many games has that been 0 for 3 3-pointers? And we've had guys come in and shoot 0 for 4 from the three-point line. And that you can't have. And so as long as they can make them, yes, you stand out there and shoot it. But you cannot have the games when you have, 3 different guys go 0 for 3 or 1 for 4 from the three-point line. You just can't have it.
Man, you guys are doing a great job killing the text line today. My cousin Adrian up in Plainfield, how are you doing? Steve out in Greenfield listening to us. We appreciate you. Used to be over at Braybuff. How's that, man?
Steve's got to be a bunch of Learys out there. Greenfield's full of Learys.
Good God, let's hope not.
It's true. I'm telling you, my grandpa was a Leary from Greenfield, Indiana, and there are a bunch of them.
Yeah,
I'm related to all of them.
Man, we're tons of texts here this morning. I'm trying to get this one open because they're coming in from so many different places. This is Alan from Baird's Eye. Good morning, fellas. Question: Todd has made the statement the other former players. At least that's the way I've understood it. Blah blah blah. Oh, could you go in this evening before the game in the locker room and give inspirational speech? There you go.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to. I think the coaching staff might not enjoy that all that much, but
why is that? Because of what you would say?
No, just because they've got a routine and they stick to stuff. I mean,
yeah.
Even from Coach Knight's perspective, like he had a lot of different people. I've said this, since the day I left there. One of the coolest things that Coach Knight did for us was have different people come in and talk to us, and we met people, not just basketball people, from all different sports, from all different walks of life, and people that were just successful in business. But it generally wasn't on a game day. And, actually, it was never on a game day. I think the only guy that ever talked to us on a game day was Red Auerbach when we played at Madison Square Garden in the NIT one year, and just cool things like that. But yeah, I'm probably not going to be talking to him before the game. I would love to go spend some time with him on a non-game day.
Dennis from Chandler, Arizona is listening, says loves hearing former players talk about IU basketball. So, yeah, I'm glad we could get Dane on for you, Dennis.
Yeah, we know he's talking about Dane. Dane's he's such a character. I mean, he has the personality that you just want. I mean, he's just funny. You just like to be around him.
Oh, absolutely. Ryan's listening up in Michigan as well. Says Dane is great, as you know I am from Michigan, so it's always been a cool connection. Glad to have you along with us. Jennifer down in Evansville says, when IU gets up around 10 points, I feel like they have the momentum to break it open to 20 plus, but it never happens.
But it doesn't happen.
How do they adjust for this and go in for the kill? That's a great point, because we've seen this all year long, and we've seen them get up and get really close to that, like the other night, and then have that little bit of a collapse and give a lot of it back.
Yeah, I mean, here's something you hear coaches say all the time. You know how things have changed over the years, and they have people do the halftime interviews and all that kind of stuff. So coming out of a locker room, you'll see Aaron Andrews interview a coach, and they've got a 17-point lead in football or whatever it might be, and they always say the same thing. We've talked to the guys. We've got to get them to play like it's 0-0, and I think that's been said so many times that people just almost kind of don't even listen to it when you say it. It goes in one ear and out the other. But truly, when you can get a team, Coach Knight was really good with us about the game within the game. And at a timeout, I always like to tell people like what we talked about in timeouts and in huddles and things like that, because to me, that's kind of the interesting thing. I would love to know like what Bill Belichick is saying at a timeout and things like that. But Coach Knight would get us to kind of make it a game within a game and break the game down to, sometimes it was 10-minute segments, sometimes it was 4-minute segments. And it would be, hey, you know what? We are ahead by 6 points right now at the 8-minute mark. By the next TV timeout, by the 4-minute mark, let's get that thing up to 12 points, or let's get that thing up to 9 points. And he would set a little game within a game. And so we actually had a goal to try to get to, by that next time out. And trust me, when you don't get to it, it gets brought up. And, that's just kind of the little stuff that you can do to try to extend those leads. I love, this is something that I love. And I don't think enough coaches use it to their advantage, but you see coaches call timeouts all the time when when the other team is on a run, when teams are scoring against them and they fall behind, the other team scores 8 points in a row or whatever, you see them call a timeout. I love watching the coaches that when their team, gets on a run and all of a sudden you get it to that level you set. So let's say we say, hey, we want to get it to a 12-point lead by the 9-minute mark, and you get to that point and you call a timeout. You bring everybody over and you sit there and you recognize the fact we got to that goal, and then you reset everyone and you start it over again. That's how I think that's how you get away from losing those leads once you build it up to that point. Because yeah, you got that goal, and if it's not the end of the game, yes, you're at that goal you wanted to get to, but there's still a lot more game to play. And I love seeing the coaches use the timeouts when their team's playing well and when things are going right, and kind of get everybody leveled out and set and get your line and get a little bit of a rest and come out and get a great defensive stop at that point. I think that's good coaching, in my opinion, and I love watching coaches use that to their advantage.
Tim hit the text line up, says, and this is a great comparison, Winston reminds him of Teddy Bridgewater, very humble. Yeah, nice little that's a compliment there. Teddy Bridgewater, very humble guy.
I would love to say, I just probably have not seen enough interviews with Teddy Bridgewater, to be honest with you.
Well, he's just a humble kid. He's just a quiet, unassuming kid that goes about and who's a badass athlete. And goes about his business.
I totally agree. I'm not disputing any of that. I would love to. I want to watch more interviews with Teddy Bridgewater, because I couldn't think enough about Cassius Winston. Did you see the interview he did last weekend? He and Gus Johnson went to the same high school, apparently.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, well, they did a whole piece on it prior to the game, and they were giving Gus Johnson they were razzing him a little bit, and Cassius Winston was saying he was honored and humbled to be the second most famous athlete to ever come out of that high school.
That's funny. Was Gus an athlete?
He was. Gus actually played 4 years of college baseball.
Really?
Yeah.
As what? He's so small.
First baseman, I believe.
Well, dude, That how long ago was that?
Did he? Yeah. See, I wasn't even around for then. I just studied up on my Gus Johnson.
Oh, yeah, that one I didn't remember that. Based on matchups, Tebow wants to know who leads the team in scoring tonight. That's a good question.
Justin Smith has the best mismatch, to be honest with you, about everything.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
It is. But based on matchups, so here's going to be the thing to look for to start the game. So who will Xavier Tillman guard? That'll tell you who of the big men between Joey Brunk and Trace Jackson Davis, which one of those is more valuable in Tom Izzo's mind? Whoever Xavier Tillman guards will be the guy they think they want to take away. And I'll be honest with you, I think it'll be Joey Brunk.
How's that not going to be Trace Jackson Davis?
I think it'll be Joey Brunk.
I know, but how is it not Trace Jackson Davis? He's the leading scorer.
Yeah, I mean, the ball's been going through Joey Brunk a lot more than it has Trace Jackson Davis lately. And Joey Brunk, this is the thing with Joey Brunk. Like, they've run plays for him. They've fed him the ball. How many times in a game do you think we actually feed Trace Jackson Davis the ball and he makes a post move and scores? It's not very many. If you go back and look at his points, a lot of it's off drives and kicks. A lot of it is off offensive rebounds and putbacks. In the last game, it was on some transition baskets. Like, he is not a guy that has scored off of us pounding the ball in the post. And I truly think I'll be interested to see if they double team. I doubt they will, but I'll be interested to see if they do. But I don't know. I mean, looking at their lineup, I don't know who's going to guard Trace Jackson Davis and Justin Smith. I mean, Justin Smith is so much more athletic than Gabe Brown. Every aspect of the game benefits Justin Smith, except for on the other end of the floor, Gabe Brown is a much better shooter. Justin Smith will have to extend his defense out on Gabe Brown. But those are the matchups that I see, as the ones that Indiana is going to have to win that battle between Justin Smith and Trace Jackson Davis. I think those two guys combined have to have a big day.
Absolutely, man. We're getting close. What a great program this has been already today. Fun times. This is a game that for Indiana, like, this is not what you call a must win. But this is sure a great opportunity because if they lose this, it's like, oh, you lost to Michigan State. They're the leader in the Big Ten. So it's not like you lost to Minnesota or a team at the bottom. But at the same time, Indiana is just as good as Michigan State. They have every bit of chance to win this game as Michigan State does, and they're at home. So the onus is on Indiana's back a little bit. If they want be an upper-level Big Ten team. And this is not even about winning the Big Ten championship. It's being one of those teams in that upper four. If you want to be up there, you got to be competitive and be able to beat the teams there with you.
Yeah, and right now you look at, the recipe to beat Michigan State this season has been to make it very difficult on Cassius Winston. And Purdue has always, as a player, Purdue's always been known as a defensive team. And they made it extremely difficult on Cassius Winston. They were throwing double teams at him. I'll be honest with you. I would not hesitate. If I were Indiana, I would make one of those other guys beat me, and I would get the ball out of Cassius Winston's hands. When he stands out there and dribbles, I would run and double team him, and I truly would, because I don't think their offense would run near as efficiently. Now, they've got other really good players. Aaron Henry from Indianapolis is a great player. I love him. I think the Gabe Brown will be a great player.
But it's about the continuity that their offense has.
They are used to having the ball in Cassius Winston's hands. And if you take that away and eliminate that as much as possible, they're going to get it to him eventually. But I would double team him 4 times in a possession if I had to get it out of his hands. And I would leave a couple of wide open shooters and live with them making shots, because in the long run, over a 40-minute game, they're going to get uncomfortable. And they're not used to playing that way.
Absolutely, man. Well, it all comes down tonight. Don't forget, after the game with Todd Leary happens tonight, of course, live from Yogi's, brought to you by Best Beer Incorporated of Bloomington. We'll be live at around 10:30. The tip for the game, 8:30 on Fox. Gus Johnson, Bill Raftery on the call. I hate missing those calls. I hate missing not getting to hear the call by Don Fisher. I hate not getting to hear the call of the games by Gus Johnson and whatnot. But I will get to go back and listen. I get to go back and rewatch these games, so I get to hear a little bit of that. But you don't get to Don Fisher. And I'll be honest with you, I miss that. I miss not getting to hear Don Fisher call games.
I miss sitting next to Don Fisher while he's calling the games. I'm with you 100%. Because
you got me beat there.
The funny part is that's what we grew up with. I mean, hearing that since I have been born, Don Fisher has been the announcer of IU. So every game, when I was in high school and would go to an away game and IU would be playing, I would be sitting there with my old Walkman headphones on, listening to Don Fisher in the IU game. I've always been an IU nerd.
We got a lot more coming up here on the program, man. It's been a loaded one already. Dane Fife was with us. If you missed that, hope not. You can go back and listen to it, though, on any place you find a podcast after the show is over. But we got more Archie coming up. We're going to hear more from him. We got lots more to talk about in regards to the game. Last night, some great games, Penn State, Michigan. We'll talk about that. Rutgers, Iowa happened last night. There's a couple games. What other game tonight? I think, in the Big Ten. But we'll get to all that after the break from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios in the Sports Beat with Coyle Leary. Back with more after this.
Make sure you do it right.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Hey, it's Michael Lewis, former Indiana University player and current UCLA assistant basketball coach, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Coyle, Larry with you, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Thursday. Game day. The Hoosiers taking on Sparty tonight at the Simon Scott Assembly Hall, 8:30. Fox broadcast. Gus Johnson, Bill Raftery on the call. Of course, after the game with Todd Leary, coming to you live from Yogi's, brought to you by Best Beer. Should be around 10:30 there on Facebook Live. You can catch the show. And, man, this
Eastern
time. Man, this could be the biggest show we've had. And I mean that. I mean, this might be – if Indiana wins this game, I think it would be the biggest show we've had.
Yeah, I mean,
from a numbers standpoint.
Yeah, our shows are kind of odd, and sometimes when they play poorly, we have a bigger show. Fans like to talk about that, but yeah, I mean, it could be this sets Indiana up for a really good opportunity moving forward, and if they could win this game, yeah, I heard him talking last night in the Iowa Rutgers game about winning streaks in the Big Ten. And it's funny how true it was a 4-game winning streak in the Big Ten would just be monstrous. I mean, it sets you apart from –
that's like an 8-game streak of any other thing else.
It's unbelievable. I mean, and right now, Indiana's got the road win behind them. They've got 2 home games right now. I mean – a 3-game win streak right now would be a big deal for Indiana because the 2 teams they would beat coming up would be Michigan State and Maryland, which obviously would benefit them from a position in the Big Ten standpoint. But wow, I mean, just a big opportunity.
Ron in Arizona hits the text line, said, Todd is exactly right. Tonight I will have the game on mute and the ear pods in with the great Don Fisher in my ear. It makes wins more exciting and losses a little more tolerable.
Yeah, you know what? It's for those of us that have been Indiana fans for a long time, and that's a lot of Indiana fans, it's our comfort zone. I mean, we've listened to Don Fisher I've listened to Don Fisher literally my entire life. There's been a few rare instances when Don didn't do the game because of the Old Oak and Bucket game or a bowl game or some different scenario. But for the most part, every game you've ever heard has been Don Fisher. It's our comfort zone. So it's almost like our security blanket.
Absolutely. Tebow texts in, says, why don't you guys invite Don Fisher to sit in on your show after the game, after a home game sometime? Well, he's still at the hall. We got to sneak out and hustle over there, number one. But number two, Joe Smith is going to join us sometime, who's also a part of that crew. Matter of fact, he just told me yesterday he's been wanting to come by. He may try to do that Sunday because he also has obligations there after the game during the week, but on a weekend he can get away. So we're going to try to get Joe Smith to stop by maybe on Sunday.
Yeah, and something that here, I'll give you some insight on Don Fisher, is he is the most prepared and professional individual that I've ever seen. And Don has a routine. And that routine does not involve going to Yogi's after the game. And so I can tell you he isn't going to Yogi's after the game because he sticks to his routine and is insanely professional about everything that he does. And I mean, there's no one. I swear to you, I'm telling you this, and he and I talked about it just briefly when I used to do the radio with him. But he learned from Coach Knight how important preparation was. Now, I think Don was probably always very organized and professional in everything that he did, but I think he also learned from Coach Knight. And this is a statement that I swear you can live by in every facet of life. It's not a basketball statement, but failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And that was Coach Knight's biggest. I mean, if he said that, the statement he said most in all the time I was there, besides the F word, was that statement. And he just, he lived by it. He stuck by it. And Don Fisher has been an example of that for years and years. So Don is always, the ultimate professional and insanely prepared.
Are you saying we're not professional?
No, I'm just saying
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
People are different.
I'm kidding. Also, let's see a text in the show from Tim. He says, so last year, teams concentrated on Romeo. Does Indiana concentrate solely on Winston?
Yeah, I mean, truly, in reality, yes. I mean, if you take Cassius Winston out of this game and force him to play bad, you you have a really good chance of winning. If Cassius Winston plays really well in this game, you have a very slim chance of winning. And, the case used to be against Romeo. Yeah, I don't know that teams focused on Romeo as much as you really think they did. I mean, they focused on keeping Romeo out of the lane, but I don't think anybody was scared of Romeo standing out there and shooting jump shots. So it'll be a different focus, but the idea in general is, yes, I think everyone in the league, you don't have to be a rocket scientist, and the 15th assistant on every team right now will be able to tell you the recipe to beat Michigan State is to negatively affect Cassius Winston.
Yeah, I mean, he's the general. You talk about, I hate to use the word floor general because it's a very cliche term, but it's the truth, especially with him. He is that guy. He is that coach on the floor. He's a guy that Tom Izzo trusts to make the right decisions, the right reads, the right moves, to direct the offense correctly, and to keep that smooth transition that you talked about earlier, which why disrupting that is so important. And because Tom Izzo knows that when he's on the floor with the ball, things are going to be smoother.
And truly, like, this is, I'm definitely not a homer because I'm not talking about an Indiana player. But Cassius Winston is a rare talent. And it's not from the standpoint of he's not overly athletic. He's not overly fast. He doesn't shoot that great. But he understands the game. He knows how to play. He understands the game better than, most players that have played college basketball. And I'm saying that, in history and over time. And it's kind of funny. He's a rare talent. Like, guys like this, you don't have them every year in college basketball. Next year, there won't be a Cassius Winston. I mean, if there is, it'll be unique that someone else has stepped forward and been that. But, LSU is looked at as defensive back university. DBU is what Tyrann Mathieu always calls it. Well, you know what? Michigan State is kind of point guard U. I mean, they have had.
Well, look who he just replaced as the leading assist leader in the
Cleaves. And you can go back to Magic Johnson, but I mean, if you remember back, Steve Smith was their point guard. I mean, they have had one good point guard after another, and it's kind of point guard you if you really look at it.
Well, and you got to give that credit to Tom Izzo because he knows how important it is if to be successful, to have a successful offense that you need. That's what you need, and so he tries to not be without that.
Yeah. Hey, Jake, go back and look up and see what star rating was Cassius Winston coming out of high school. And I think, I think Cassius Winston was probably, I could be totally wrong. He might have been recruited by everybody under the sun, but he's not your prototypical recruit that you're looking at going, oh my gosh, this guy is, he's going to change our entire program. Like, he's that good. Like, he's not. Generally, that person is always either really tall or really athletic, and he doesn't fit into any of those categories. What's that? Yeah, I mean that's higher than I would have thought.
That's pretty high. Yeah, that's up there. So, yeah, a guy that Tom Izzo gets is not going to be, not that he can't coach him up. It's just that he's starting with pretty good material to begin with because he can, and so there's no reason not to.
Yeah, I mean, there's not very many people. When you get an offer from Michigan State, generally you take it. Like it's like Duke. I mean, you get one from Duke and Michigan State, and those you're getting a great program and you're getting great coaching. I think Kentucky has a different system and philosophy. They're going on the basis of we're going to get you to the NBA as fast as possible. I don't think it's how much you're going to learn while you're here. Whereas I think Duke and Michigan State and those places, I think that, you're learning the game of basketball while you're there and you're learning how to play and a lot of other factors involved in going to school there. And so, Michigan State it's a good, obviously it's a great place for kids. When they get an offer from there, they generally take it. You don't see them turn that down very often.
Let's see. We got time. We don't have to break yet. Man, last night I was talking about that Penn State-Michigan game. How about Curtis Jones, former Hoosier? Curtis Jones, almost forgot about that.
How about his second half last night?
18 second half point. Didn't score in the first half. All points coming in the second half. And, wow, what a big night he had on the road.
Yeah, he did. And you know what? Good for him. Like, hey, because Indiana wasn't the place for him, he's a kid. I root for all those kids to, figure out their journey and where they're going and what's best for them. And if the school's not right for a kid, unless people have lived that life and know everything that's expected of you when you go to a place and all that, I would just caution people to get too critical on a kid that transfers and leaves. I mean, it's not for every place is not for every kid. And I don't know anything about his life and journey and situation, but I know he left here.
Definitely been a journey.
State. Yeah. He went to Oklahoma State and then he ended up back at Penn State, and they use him, he doesn't start. They use him in a sub role, and when he comes in and gets hot, he's like Vinny Johnson. He comes in and gets hot, they're going to ride him. They're going to ride him a little bit, but I don't think that happens every game.
Man, how do you think that Indiana could use a Curtis Jones Jr. now?
Yeah, there's definitely some scenarios when you could use him.
That's going to be, and when Penn State comes to play Indiana, that's going to be a little weird.
Yeah, it will be a little strange, I'm sure, but he was here for 2 years, I think. He's had a lot going on in his life since then. He's been out to Oklahoma State, and now he's at Penn State. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. I doubt he's thought too much about his time in Indiana.
Well, how could he? He's been gone to too many damn places to worry about Indiana. He's been traveling off to Oklahoma, to Stillwater to visit Oklahoma State, and then now he's off to Happy Valley and playing up in Penn State. I mean, he's definitely had a journey.
Yeah, they've got I was surprised. Penn State is really, really good. And Lamar Stevens, I mean, if it weren't for Cassius Winston, I think Lamar Stevens would probably be the player. I don't know. Luka Garza might have something to say about that too. But
God, he's a monster.
Lamar Stevens is he's good. He's an all-around good basketball player. And he's smart and everything about it. He controls that team, and they're good. They've got guys that come in off the bench that are good. They're a very good team. I was surprised at their record. Like, for them to only be 4-4 in the Big Ten, it feels like they're better than it. Right now, if you truly made me rank the top teams in the Big Ten, I would rank Michigan State and then Penn State and then Illinois. I think those are the top three teams the way they're playing right now in the Big Ten. And Penn State's only 4-4, so it's kind of weird to say that. But
it goes back to where, and it's just like the rankings. People get all jacked up. I don't care what somebody was doing a month ago. I don't care where they were ranked a month ago. I don't care what their record was a month ago. Today, how are they playing today? That's what matters. And today, Penn State's playing pretty damn well.
Yeah, they went into Michigan, and Michigan is different. Michigan's in a weird place without Isaiah Livers. I mean, they're playing without. I would say he's probably their best player. I mean, he's definitely their most talented offensive player, I guess. I mean, I really think the big guy is good, but, they're a team that struggles to score the ball, and Isaiah Livers being out certainly doesn't help them in that scenario.
Absolutely. Hey, you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Coy O'Leary here on this Thursday, January 23rd. It is game day as the Hoosiers take on Sparty tonight at the Simon Scott Assembly Hall. We've got lots more coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. We're back with it right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dawkins.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Hi, this is AJ Moye, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Larry listening to you, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Thursday. Game day. Man, last night, Memphis took it on the chin, my man. 80-40. Tulsa beat Memphis, Todd. I mean, that's just an absolute beat down. It is. It's hard to lose by 40, especially in today's world when teams are struggling to score so much. But, it doesn't happen very often. And that's a team. They're just a miniature version. They're I'm going to use Jake's term. They're a Dollar General version of Kentucky. They've just got a bunch of freshmen, a bunch of young guys playing, and they're expecting to go out and beat teams based on talent alone. And when you travel on the road with a bunch of young guys, I think you could probably expect to lose by 40 occasionally. Yeah, just when you have the number one recruiting class in America, it's shocking. But they don't have that anymore. I mean, the number one player in the country. You'd think that the number one player might be, but they still have. They had like 9 freaking recruits. Okay, it was crazy. Hang on a minute. Let's just be for real. They would not be the number one ranked team in the country, number one ranked recruiting class in the country if Jameis Wiseman. I don't know that that's true. My God. They had that many high-ranking recruits. Todd, you're not listening to me. They had that many high-ranking recruits that I don't know that even taking him out would have moved them off of that line. They had that many. Hey, you don't have to get worked up about it. I'm just telling you. I'm just letting you know that I still agree with you in saying I think they would have still had a really good recruiting class. No, that's I don't obvious. Believe it would have been number one. I think that it still would have been number one because they had only because they had so many high-ranking recruits, not for any other reason. But obviously, he is the best of those, and they do not have him, and it is obviously made a huge impact on that team. But I'm just still shocked with all that talent that they can get beat that badly. That shows you the inability of freshmen. Exactly. That shows you the immaturity and why one and dones are not going to lead you to a championship if they just come and leave. It's no good. That's why Kentucky won one national championship in a decade of having the best recruits that money can buy. Yeah, so, I mean, the biggest example, no one has to look any farther last year than Duke's team. If that Duke team doesn't walk away with the national championship last year, then it's not the recipe because there will never be a more talented team put together than what Duke had last year. And to have the coach they had. Yeah. I mean, they had it all. You are exactly right. That is the quintessential example right there.
Yeah.
But that's fine. And that's going away. I can't wait till that goes away because how fun has this season been? I mean, how fun is it to see Tulsa beat Memphis by 40? How fun is it to see Penn State go on the road and beat Michigan, which that just saying that blows my mind just to say that. But that's where we are. Rutgers is in the top 3 of the Big Ten. I mean, this is a nutball of a season.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, I know Indiana fans like to talk about this, so let's just give that some consideration. In that, we talked about if Indiana wins both games this week, where they would end up being ranked. Well, Rutgers is ranked 24th, and they just got beat, so they're going to get knocked out of it. Memphis is ranked 20th, and they just got smoked, so they're most likely going to get knocked out of the ranking. Colorado's got a tough game tonight. Houston's got a tough game tonight. They're in 23 and 25th respectively. Looking down the list of these, there's a lot of teams that have tough games, and Indiana could jump not just into the polls, but I mean, if you beat Michigan State and Maryland, I think Indiana will jump up into like 17, 18 range.
I exactly agree with you 1,000% because there's almost no way they couldn't do that because if that happens, they'll be 16-4. They will have quality win after quality win. I don't care what anybody says about the early season schedule. It doesn't matter. It's quad 1 wins that they're piling up. There's no way. So they would just leap into the fray. Now, the thing is, they then go on the road the following week.
Right, yeah. I mean,
and there's no way they're not going to lose at least one of those, if not both.
If they don't, I mean, we said this yesterday, and it's true, I believe. If they don't win both of these games this week, I don't think they'll be ranked at any point in time throughout the entire year.
I agree.
And you brought that point up, and I think it's exactly right. The only way they would is if they went crazy and won 2 road games in a week, and then were able to come back home and win a home game at that point. Otherwise, the way the schedule is set up with 2 road games every other week, if they don't win both games this week, I don't think they'll be ranked all year long.
And I think if they do win both these games, they will undoubtedly be ranked, no doubt. And I think if they can get to that point by winning both these games, they will be ranked. And I think I agree with you inside the top 20 that all they have to do is split those games the following week.
Yeah,
if they go 1-1,
next week's going to be a toughie
but if they get ranked, all they have to do is split those games. I think they can lose one. I think people recognize and respect the difficulty of playing on the road in the Big Ten. And if Indiana goes on the road and splits that, no, you're fine.
I agree, but splitting at Penn State, at Ohio State,
it's still tougher than hell.
I'll take it. I'll take that split right now. I don't care which one you give me. I don't care which win it is or which loss it is. Give it to us. I'll take it right now.
Absolutely, because either of those would be a quality win, especially Penn State. Yeah, you can almost write that one off, but Ohio State, they got to win sometime.
I know.
So, and getting them at home, because we know they're not as bad as they look right now. And they're going to catch fire at some point, you think. You hope it's after you go there, but you know it's coming.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they're 2-5. The crazy part is you think about this. I mean, 2 of the most talented – 2 teams that have been ranked in the top 5 in the country this year, Michigan and Ohio State, are both 2-5 in the league. Think about that.
Yeah,
that's insane.
It is absolutely mind-boggling. And you want to and to make it even more crazy – in their place, we're looking at Rutgers and Penn State and Wisconsin. I mean, teams that nobody in their right mind expected to be in the top 4 of the Big Ten.
Yeah, no,
and there they sit.
I agree.
It's nuts, man. But that's what makes it fun, and that's what's making this season so incredibly fun. Because if this is this going to be the norm going forward? I mean, because we know teams are looking to get older. They have to, because this one and done rule is going away. Not only is it going away, it has not proved beneficial for anyone. So is this the new norm?
The crazy part is we're right in the heart of it. The Big Ten is the definition of parity and difficulty to win games, every game, home and away, throughout the entire conference. We're sitting here talking about it right now. Every single night, whoever Northwestern plays, I mean, that game goes down to the last 5 minutes every single night, and that's supposed to be the cupcake of the league. Nebraska is going on the road and still giving teams competitive games. There's no cupcake games that you have. And usually the ACC is right there with it. You know, we're living it right in the middle of it because we're in Big Ten country. But the ACC this year, I mean, it is down. When I say down, it's embarrassingly down how bad that thing is right now. And so right now, yes, I think the answer to your question, there'll be a lot more of it next year because I think the ACC will obviously not be where they are right now next year. I mean, you got North Carolina in last place in the ACC at 1-6. I mean, you got Notre Dame at 2-5. You've got Clemson at 4-4, Virginia at 4-4 in the ACC. I mean, those teams, you can't expect that. That's not going to continue that way. And Florida State, I mean, heck, a team in Indiana beat is 5th in the country right now, and 6-1 in the ACC.
Text into the show from Tommy V says, "Thanks for giving me an outlet to vent. My wife appreciates it." Hey, that's awesome. I didn't see that one. I missed that. That was from way back, but I was scrolling down. He said he's been working like a refugee. Any big time recruiting news? No, I've heard very little. I know that Tony Bennett was at Silver Creek the other day watching Trey Kaufman, but I've heard very little on the recruiting side. There's not a lot that goes on during the season. I mean, there's obviously some stuff, but it's not a lot going on in that regard right now because things are really starting to heat up basketball-wise. Yeah, I mean,
how do I say this without stirring the whole world up here? But high school basketball is crap. It's garbage. I mean, until they change the rules in the state of Indiana and all across the country and put a shot clock in, you can't base a whole lot off of recruits. Coaches are going to these games, and this is an absolute fact. If you think anything else, then I'm just telling you don't know what you're talking about. But coaches show up at a kid's high school game just to show their face, just to show the support of, hey, we are so interested. We're willing to come here during our season and watch you play in a game we could care less about because they're going to watch a team go out there and score 38 points in a game and win 38-31, and you're not going to get to see their skills or their talents or how they defend or how they do anything. They're probably a 6'8" guy guarding a 6'2" guy. Nothing about most college basketball or high school basketball games does a college coach really consider. You know what they're probably watching? How do you interact with your teammates? How do you interact with your coaches? How do you interact with the officials? How do you handle tough situations? They might be watching that, but they're not watching your skill set. They do all of that based on AAU play.
Texting in the show from Joker. 8 different teams now have road wins in the Big Ten, with Illinois and Wisconsin leading the way with 2 wins each. Northwestern 3 home losses, and Nebraska with 2 losses seem like the most likely place to get a road win. You're absolutely correct there, Joker. Nebraska and Northwestern is a friendly landing spot for visiting teams. But, it's starting to pick up a little bit, the road wins. We saw Penn State do that last night. And it's going to continue some. But.
And Wisconsin has the 2 of the most impressive road wins. I mean, they won at Ohio State and at Penn State.
Wow.
That's 2 gigantic wins for
that's what Wisconsin. You call quad 1 wins right there, baby.
Yep. That's why they're sitting at where they are in the Big Ten. I mean,
at the end of the season, with all things being equal, when you wonder why Wisconsin is 2 seed lines ahead of Indiana, this is why.
Well, I you know what? I won't agree with that. What I'll say is, when you wonder why Wisconsin sneaks into the tournament and gets a bid, it's going to be because one of those 2 wins.
I don't think they're going to sneak in.
Yeah.
I mean, they're sitting pretty good shit. What are they, 4th in the Big Ten right now, in the toughest conference in the country? I mean, with the wins you just talked about, they're pretty solidly in my mind.
They're tied for 3rd. They're actually tied for 3rd at this point right now. And they've got a couple of big wins. I agree with you. I don't think that they're a team that will consistently be able to win like that. Like, it won't surprise me if Purdue goes into Wisconsin and wins. It won't surprise me if Ohio State goes in there and wins after they've already won at Ohio State. I think any team in the league, this is why I guess I would say this. I think any team in the league could beat Wisconsin on any given night. I don't think any team in the league could beat Michigan State or Illinois on any given night. And so that's probably why I say that. But I also put Indiana in that category. I think any given team on a given night could beat Indiana.
Right now, Joe Lunardi has Wisconsin on the 6 line. He's got Indiana on the 10 line.
Yeah, but I mean that's because they have those 2 quality wins. That's what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is,
but those are not going away.
They're not going away. But they've got. Here's a good example. Tomorrow night they play at Purdue, and Monday they play at Iowa. You think they'll win both of those games, or either of those games?
They could lose both. They could split them.
I think they lose both of those games, and at that point,
they definitely aren't winning both. At
that point, I will guarantee you they will not be sitting at a 6 seed on Joe Lunardi's board.
No, they'll move. They'll drop down right to the 7, right. and they're going to move. People are going to move back and forth. This is going to be a fluid thing. But
so here's Michigan. Here's Wisconsin's next 3 games: at Purdue, Friday, at Iowa on Monday, and Michigan State at their place next Saturday. And then they go to Minnesota.
2 games, that's a rough swing. Those first 2 back to back like that, bam.
And then that Michigan State will beat Wisconsin at Wisconsin, in my opinion. So that's 3 losses in a row, and then you've got to go to Minnesota. It's possibly 4 losses in a row, and then Ohio State comes there. It's possibly 5 losses in a row.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting for us to go back. But this particular swing, let's make sure we go back and look at this particular swing for Wisconsin, because it's going to be because Wisconsin's they're an intriguing team to me.
At this point in the season, I think Wisconsin has overachieved based on their talent level more than any other team in the Big Ten. Now, does that last a full season? Does that last through this little gauntlet they've got going right now? I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I don't think that
we'll determine whether or not it is like exactly what you said. Because they could fall flat on their face through that, or they could find a way to. If they can tread water through that, they're going to come out fine on the other side. It's just one of the others.
Yeah, and we're not making our show all about Wisconsin, but here's
Big Ten.
Here's the bad side for Wisconsin is they've got some bad losses early in the year. I mean, they lost to St. Mary's at home. I know St. Mary's is a decent team, but they lost to St. Mary's at home. They lost to Richmond. They lost to New Mexico. They lost to North Carolina State. They've already lost to Rutgers. And Rutgers is a good one. I understand that. I'm just saying, like, when you factor in, yes, they won at Ohio State, and yes, they won at Penn State, but they lost at home to St. Mary's, and they lost to Richmond and New Mexico and North Carolina State.
I think people look when that happened too, though.
I totally agree with you. I'm just saying when we factor in those wins, right now Wisconsin is 12-7 overall. Okay, let's just say let's use my argument as an example. I think they have a chance of losing 4 out of the next 5 games. That's going to put them 13-11.
Well, that would change the narrative without doubt.
It puts them third. I'm telling you, when you get to the end of the year,
very possible, and that would change the narrative without question.
Their last game of the year could be the game to make or break them getting into the NCAA tournament. And guess where it is?
At Indiana.
It sure is. It sure is. They may be coming in here with a lot to play for.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's going to be very interesting. So, hey, let's take a break and come back and finish the show out. But we got lots more to talk about. We talked about Zion earlier. He made his debut. How about the Pacers? Man, they still rolling 29-16.
Let's talk about Zion.
112-87 to win over the Suns last night. But we got lots more. We got lots more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. We're back with it right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
This is former IU basketball player Derek Elson. Follow the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
Well, yeah, we've grown up. I think part of it is inexperience with youth and inexperience with just, new players in the game. So we have a lot of newness early, and we struggled, I thought, defensively early in the season with our, on-ball defense and our inability to keep our defense, tight and be where we're supposed to be. We've gotten better, as the month has gone on. And once you get into conference play, you have to find a way to keep tweaking and getting better at what you're doing. Because in this league, if you can't defend, you're not going to really have a chance on a night-in, night-out basis.
There's Archie talking more about his Hoosiers as they prepare to take on Tom Izzo's Michigan State Spartans tonight at the Simon Scott Assembly Hall, 8:30 tip time, Fox broadcast. Gus Johnson, Bill Raftery, and of course, after the game with Todd Leary, coming to you live from Yogi's, brought to you by Best Beer Incorporated of Bloomington. We'll be there. Be square. Facebook Live post-game show for you. We appreciate everybody joining us. Dr. J texted us onto the show today, says, so you guys are confirming what we say every year anyway, the Big Ten is the best conference in the country. Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about that. Even Jay Billis, I saw him in an interview yesterday, said the same thing, that the Big Ten is without question, top to bottom, the best conference in the country. There is no question to me. My God, you've got 12 teams in the Ken Palm top 50.
Yeah, I mean, top to bottom, that's factual. I mean, I think because of Duke and then last year with Virginia, I think they get credit for being so good. North Carolina, you got obviously, how do you forget about them? I mean, year in and year out, the top 3, 4, 5 teams are always really good or usually really good in the ACC. But top to bottom, I don't think there's any question. You take the 10th team in the Big Ten versus the 10th team in the ACC, and there's a huge drop-off once you get to that point in the ACC. So, yeah, this year is just so much different than every other year. I think we say that every year about something going on, and we've talked about parity and all that years and years and years in a row. Nothing like this. This is This is on steroids. This is parody on steroids right now.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, speaking of Dr. J, Reynolds Family Dentistry, Todd, Jay has not been to the dentist in 5 years, he just told me. So, and I'm not kidding
man.
about this.
Now everybody's going to be looking at my teeth when they
No,
see
you're
me.
fine. You look fine. It's just that you still got to go for a checkup. So we got to set up an appointment with Reynolds Family Dentistry, with Dr. J, with Todd. We need to do some teeth whitening. We're getting ready to shoot a TV show, so we got to get ourselves all prettied up. So,
Man.
Dr. J, I think we need to do a show from Reynolds Family Dentistry one day.
I'm in. I wouldn't say I would love it because I freaking hate the dentist.
Oh no, because it would be with you in the chair.
I know. If I have anxiety, there's several things I have anxiety about, and the dentist is one of them.
Well, of
I'm
course,
scared of the dentist.
Good reason. I've been to Dr. J. There's good reason.
The dentist is the boogeyman to me.
I'm just kidding. They're great. They're Roger and Jay, great friends of the show. And Reynolds Family Dentistry. If you're in Southern Indiana, that's where you need to be headed. Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. There.
Do they have? I wonder if they have that. We need to find out from Doc if he's got that the gas mask where they put you out for that one. I'd do it if they'll do that.
Oh my God! If they do, I'm going to get that for the show. I'll get that to you for the show.
I can't stand the pain. I'm a sissy.
Looking forward to it. So, Dr. J had to hit us up on that. Tim texted into the show, talked about Coy Cronk transferring to Iowa.
Ugh.
Why would he not finish with IU as we are going to be a 9+ win and bowl team again next year? Yeah, maybe. But, I'll tell you why. Because Coy Cronk played tackle. He wants to play tackle, and he was told he's going to be moved to the guard position. Didn't want to play guard. So he took his bucket and found a new sand pit, which is fine.
Here's the thing with that.
It's that simple.
You try not to. Yeah, I don't think it is that simple. You try not to comment too much on things like that. It looks like that on paper, but there's a lot of factors that go into a kid transferring and wanting to do something different, and we don't know what they are. That's the difference. I mean, maybe he just wanted to try something new. He's been here for 4 years, 5 years, whatever it is. Maybe he just wanted a new scenario, a new livelihood. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be.
It could. I don't.
But it's not. That's that. I mean, it's not like it's not a secret. It's not. And I'm not saying anything that's like a secret or negative. It's not. It's just it is what it is. And that happens a lot with teams that you see a lot. That's why you see grad transfers, because that question could be applied virtually to any grad transfer. Why would they leave their current situation? Well, just because, and what you said a lot of the times is the actual thing. It is that. And there may be some of that here, but it does come down to a positional thing in this particular instance, which it's no big deal, like I said. Because I was talking to Sammy yesterday, with Hoosier Huddle, and I pointed out, well, you know what? He wasn't expected to be here next year anyway. So it's not like you're losing.
Yeah, didn't
anything.
we think he was going to the NFL anyway?
Well, no, he was a senior last year. So last year should have been his last year. He got hurt, and he got a medical red shirt to play again one more year. But
so we've recruited from the standpoint of him not being here anyway.
You've got a guy. There's a grad transfer coming in so it's kind of a wash. So it doesn't really affect him. You weren't expected to have him anyway. You already have people in his position. So it sucks to lose that experience. But again, you were playing with house money anyway. So
I would have never done it in a million years, but I love this new grad transfer thing. I love seeing guys go and play in a different system, in a different scenario. I think that would have been a hoot.
Roger from Evansville says every time he hears us talk about teeth whitening, which is just the once, I think about Ross from Friends getting his. I didn't see that episode. Was it apparently a funny one?
I don't know. I didn't see it either.
I can see something nuclear coming out of someone's mouth.
We've stirred up sitcom talk now.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I like it. I'm chuckling. I like it.
What's going to be good is having you in that chair doing the show with you in the chair.
The BS from now on is I'm going to start getting people coming up to me saying, "Oh yeah, you do need your teeth." Right?
Oh no.
Yeah, hey, I'm vain. You know that, brother. I'm sensitive.
Do that portion of it.
I'm sensitive.
How are we going to do a show with the teeth whitening thing trays in our mouth? That's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I don't see that as happening.
Neither one of us would be able to talk.
Let's just do that show when we go over there. Let's just do that show from Bubba's, and we'll do it with pizza in our mouth.
How about we do half and half?
I don't think Doc would like that part.
We'll do the first half over there
half
at Doc's.
Okay.
And then, because the dentist office is not that far from Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, which is awesome. You just said that piece of man, it made me hungry.
How about let's talk about something real quick, because this is just I can't remember the last time this happened, and you tell me. Evansville with dismissing their coach and Walter McCarty, and then hiring a new coach right in the middle of the season. Can you remember another time that's ever happened?
Oh, no. I mean, rare is it that a coach gets fired in the middle of a college basketball season, unless something really, like here, the situation precedes it. But, yeah, that's a rare thing. It's a rare thing to see a coach fired in midseason. And then usually it's just the interim. They when that happens, they put an interim guy there.
Right.
And they not replacing him, which they had done with Benny Seltzer. And then and they did a good job with replacing him with Todd Lick, or not replacing, but bringing on Todd Licklider. He's a former assistant for them, great experience in being a head coach. So that was an opportunity. I understand. Probably an opportunity like that doesn't come along very often when you're in those situations.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. I was thinking maybe if I brought it up, you would say, "Oh yeah, remember that happened back here or these different times."
I'm sure it's happened at some point, but it's such a rare thing that I certainly don't recall it.
I was trying to think last night what that game would be like. I mean, he got hired on game day. That's just, I mean, now it's also a unique scenario because he was an assistant coach here a year ago. So he knows most, if not all, of these players that are here. So I mean, that's unique in itself. It's just what an unusual situation.
Well, and I understand exactly why they did it too. Why they hired him now. They were in a free fall. They've not won a game since this happened. And so they were in a free fall, back when you were on the radio and we had Dana on just a little bit ago. He went through this very thing. Very, very similar when they fired Bob Knight and all that stuff. And it has a tremendous effect on a team.
For sure.
I mean, that was a different situation, of course, so many differences there. But it all ends up being the same thing because we're talking about the players and the effect on the players. And Evansville's players were, like I said, they hadn't won since. So Evansville admin made the smart decision of, hey, we got to get somebody in and stop this bleeding now. Great opportunity to have someone like Todd Licklider come in because, like I said, that opportunity isn't always there.
Yeah, there's not a Todd Licklider sitting around, that's not working somewhere that you can get to come in and fill that role and get someone of that quality and that level. I mean, former Butler head coach, a former Iowa head coach, just tons of experience, and he's done a great job almost everywhere he's been. So. I just thought it was such a unique situation. The timing of everything. Just I couldn't think of another scenario that had happened like that.
Tim says maybe some Kentucky fans need to make an appointment with Dr. J.
That'd be a short appointment when you only got to work on one tooth.
Dr. J hits us up. Scared of teeth cleaning, but not getting your ass ripped by Bob Knight? ? That's to you. He said you're scared to get your teeth cleaned, but you can deal with getting your ass ripped by Bob Knight. That sounds backwards to Dr. J.
But, Dr. J, somebody can scream and yell at you all they want, but it doesn't hurt. I mean, it doesn't hurt. Yeah, he headbutted me in the forehead a couple times.
What if Bob Knight was your dentist?
I would find a new dentist.
What if you had no choice? What if
then I would go like I did right now and take 5 years and not go to the dentist.
Yeah.
That's an easy answer.
Oh, my God.
I would go 25 years and not go to the dentist if he was the only dentist in the world.
Tommy V says, Tommy, you need to tell me where you're out of, too, because I don't have that in my notes. I like to know where people are from. I think you're in Southern Indiana. Why don't we see teams play that full court press in your face style Patino, Shaka Smart used to play? I loved watching those styles of ball. Well, Shaka Smart ended up worth the crap in Texas, so it didn't work for him there.
Yeah, but go turn on VCU. They still do it. There are some teams that still West Virginia. Watch West Virginia. They do it.
First of all, it takes a special player. You got to recruit some special players because they are going to have to bust their ass nonstop. And not everybody wants to play that way.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing with that is once teams figure it out, that's why it's laughable. Teams used to try to press it. Kentucky was always a team that tried to do that, back in the day. And they tried to speed the game up and all that. And, man, I'm telling you, if you're a smart team and you've got guys that can shoot the ball, it's a wide-open shooting frenzy, and it's a layup drill, time after time. And teams do not press. Actually, back then, you remember the old A.C. Earl days and all that at Iowa. Iowa used to press a lot. It became a layup drill at some point in time. Like you once you figure out how to beat it, it's not very successful.
In what way?
Because you can get when you extend your defense like that. I mean, think how athletic guys are and how good guys are at driving the basketball. Well, right now, what you see teams trying to do against Indiana is pack it in the lane. They're trying to keep Indiana out of the lane. You pack it in the lane against Nebraska, you make it very difficult for them to score. Well, when you press, even if it's half court or you extend your defense out, especially if you go all the way down to 3/4 court and you extend your defense out that far, it just opens up the driving lanes like crazy. And guys, a good offensive player is going to beat a good defensive player, 9 times out of 10. And when you extend your defense out that far, get that far away from the basket, it just opens up way too many lanes and too many easy shots within 10 feet of the basket.
Yep, Dr. J's texting me, but I'm telling him I'm serious about doing a show there about Todd.
You're making me sweat.
And right now I'm typing Todd in the chair.
No,
Boom.
I'm starting to sweat, so you guys can stop this conversation right now. Let's move on. Let's talk about Zion Williamson.
Because you go to the dentist, it's like going to the auto mechanic. They're going to find something.
I don't want to
talk
talk about it.
They're going to find something.
I'd rather go anywhere.
It's too late. You've already put that idea in my head, and that's a great one.
You guys are breaking up. I can't hear you.
Yeah. Let's see. Talk about
Zion Williamson. Let's talk about
Zion had his big debut last night for New Orleans. They played against the Spurs. They lost 121-117, but he played sporadically. But, man, did he go off in the fourth quarter. 17 fourth quarter points in consecutive fashion. And they took a lead, and then he has to come out for medical reasons. By that, I mean they only were playing him so much, I guess.
They had scripted what minutes he was going to be in the game. He played in 3 to 4 minute intervals, and it was really pretty boring. I mean, you talk about it was going to be, I don't want to say a letdown because he's not played in so long and you're playing at the biggest level that there is in basketball, but he really not done a whole lot until that last fourth quarter, 3.5 minute stint or 3 minute and 8 second stint. And he went crazy. He went 4 for 4 from the 3-point line, had a couple of alley-oop lay-ins and got some rebounds. And he took a team that was down by 10 almost the whole game and put them ahead by 1. And you know what? I don't know if I give credit to or if I would have gotten caught up in the moment or what it was. But, they had a plan and they definitely stuck to it because they took him back out of the game and all the hype kind of deflated and the Spurs came out and took that game right back away from him. And, it was they stuck to their plan. They only played in the minutes they said. But, man, that last little stretch was pretty impressive to watch him out there. He's just a different kind of player.
Dr. J said we'll see what we can work out. He's got a spot for you.
I have moved on from that conversation, brother.
He's got a spot for you.
I'm willing to talk about the NBA versus going to the dentist. And I cannot stand watching the NBA. So that's how far down the road I've moved from that conversation.
Yeah, you can keep moving all you want, but that chair's not going anywhere. Man, it has been another fun day, and it is going to be a fun night.
Hopefully.
Tonight, it's going to be fun no matter what. We're having fun, right? We're going to have fun. Indiana Hoosiers host the Spartans tonight, Michigan State, 8:30 on Fox. Eastern time. Gus Johnson on the call with Bill Raftery, of course. And then after the game with Todd Leary is going to happen. That should be around 10:30. The game tips at 8:30. We're live from Yogi's, brought to you by Best Beer. Of course, you'll find us on Facebook Live where you do every week or after every game. And we appreciate you guys so much. And it's been growing and growing. And just like this show is growing and growing. We appreciate you so much. Share the show whenever you have an opportunity. We appreciate if you do that. If you live in an area where we're not on radio and you got a radio station you think would work, give them a call. Tell them they're missing out or let us know where it is. We appreciate all you guys. Todd, it's another fun day, man. Looking forward to tonight.
Hoosiers by 6.
I see that. I can see that. Hoosiers by 6. Jake, what's your take?
You couldn't say 6 because I already said 6.
Jake, can they hear you on air, Jake? Jake says by 4. Jake, you got to get that fixed, man. Got to get that fixed. Yeah,
the line is Michigan State by 2.5.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. I wrote that down. So Indiana's an underdog tonight. I think they win by 5. So we'll see. It's going to be a
so
fun
it's like
time.
The Price is
game.
Right. As long as it's 6 or more, I win.
$1.
$1.
Yeah, we got to make sure we stop by and talk to Gus Johnson tonight. We'll see. We'll talk to Dane, but he was a blast. So thanks a lot to Dane Fife for being on the show today. Tomorrow, Clark Kellogg on the program. So it just keeps getting better, man. We just don't slow down. No rest for the weary.
Clark Kellogg is the absolute best.
That's going to wrap it up for Todd. We appreciate him as always, of course. Appreciate Jake. Keep us on the wheel. I'm Jim Coyle. And until tonight, after the game with Todd Leary, I will see you on the radio.